Most men pursue relationships while running from themselves, and they wonder why nothing ever works. You've been taught a lie. You've been told that finding the right woman will complete you, that love will fill the emptiness, that a relationship will give your life meaning and direction. And so you chase it, you swipe, you flirt, you invest energy into someone you barely know, hoping they'll become the missing piece. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're not ready for yourself, you're not ready for anyone else. Most men enter relationships hoping to escape something. Loneliness, boredom, insecurity, purposelessness. They think a woman will solve what they refuse to face in the mirror. And for a while, it works. The novelty distracts you. The intimacy feels like progress. But eventually, the cracks show, the patterns repeat, and you're left wondering why nothing ever lasts. Because you brought an incomplete man into a space that required a whole one. Today, we're talking about the moment you're actually ready for a woman. Not when you want one, not when you're lonely, but when you're genuinely prepared to build something real. This isn't about pickup lines or dating strategies. This is about the internal transformation that makes everything else possible. This is about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need a relationship to feel whole. And paradoxically, that's exactly when you're ready for one. Let's begin. The problem: why most men aren't ready. Here's what nobody tells you. Most men are emotionally unavailable, not because they're cold or detached, but because they're still at war with themselves. They haven't done the work. They haven't faced their trauma, their insecurities, their unresolved anger. They haven't learned to sit with discomfort without numbing it. And so they look for women to do that work for them, to validate them, soothe them, complete them. But no woman can complete you. That's not her job. That was never her job. A study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who enter relationships with higher levels of self-compassion and emotional regulation report significantly greater relationship satisfaction and longevity. In other words, the quality of your relationship is a direct reflection of the quality of your relationship with yourself. Think about it. If you don't know who you are, how can you show up authentically? If you don't respect your own boundaries, how can you honor hers? If you haven't built a life you're proud of, what are you inviting her into? This is why so many relationships fail in the first year. It's not because people aren't compatible. It's because one or both people brought unfinished business into the connection. They brought their wounds, their unmet needs, their unspoken expectations, and they expected love to heal it all. But love doesn't heal you, it reveals you. It exposes every insecurity you've been hiding, every pattern you've been avoiding, every fear you've been suppressing. And if you're not ready to face that, the relationship becomes a battleground instead of a sanctuary. So let's be clear, you're not ready for a woman when you're lonely. You're not ready when you're bored. You're not ready when you're trying to prove something to your friends or fill a void left by your ex. You're ready when you've built a foundation within yourself that doesn't require external validation to stand. The shift, what readiness actually looks like. So, what does it mean to be ready? It doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you've reached a level of self-awareness and emotional maturity that allows you to show up as a partner, not a project. Let's break this down. First, you're ready when you've developed emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't have them. It's about understanding them, managing them, and expressing them in healthy ways. It's the ability to sit with discomfort without lashing out, to communicate needs without manipulation, to resolve conflict without ego. According to research from the University of California, Berkeley, men with higher emotional intelligence report more satisfying romantic relationships, better conflict resolution skills, and stronger emotional intimacy with their partners. They're not afraid of vulnerability. They don't see emotions as weakness. They understand that real strength is knowing yourself deeply enough to share that truth with someone else. If you're still running from your emotions, numbing them with work, alcohol, distractions, you're not ready. If you're still blaming others for how you feel, you're not ready. If you can't have a difficult conversation without shutting down or exploding, you're not ready. Emotional intelligence is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Without it, you're just two people coexisting, not connecting. Second, you're ready when you've built a life you're proud of. This doesn't mean you need to be rich or famous. It means you've created a life that reflects your values, your goals, your identity. You have purpose, you have direction, you have standards for yourself that don't waver based on who's watching. The The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your relationship with life determines your readiness for love. If you're drifting, waiting for someone to give you direction, you're not ready. If your identity is unstable, shifting based on external approval, you're not ready. A woman doesn't want to become your life. She wants to join a life already in motion." Think about the men you admire in relationships. They're not clinging. They're not desperate. They're not constantly seeking reassurance. They're grounded in who they are. They have hobbies, passions, friendships, goals that exist independently of their partner. They bring richness into the relationship because they've already cultivated richness within themselves. That's what readiness looks like. You don't need her to feel complete. You want her because she adds depth, joy, and meaning to a life that's already fulfilling. Third, you're ready when you've healed your past. This is the one most men avoid. They think time heals all wounds, so they bury the pain and move forward. But unprocessed trauma doesn't disappear. It shapes you. It influences your choices, your reactions, your patterns. If your last relationship ended in betrayal and you haven't worked through that pain, you'll carry it into the next one. You'll be suspicious, guarded, quick to assume the worst, and she'll feel it, even if you never say a word. The ancient Stoic Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Healing isn't about erasing your past. It's about changing your relationship to it. It's about understanding why you react the way you do, recognizing your triggers, and choosing different responses. Psychology research consistently shows that individuals who engage in trauma processing, whether through therapy, journaling, or reflective practices, experience healthier attachment styles and more secure romantic relationships. They're not haunted by their past. They've integrated it. They've learned from it. If you're still angry at your ex, you're not ready. If you're still comparing every woman to someone who hurt you, you're not ready. If you're still avoiding intimacy because you're afraid of being hurt again, you're not ready. You're ready when you can look at your past without bitterness, when you can take responsibility for your part, when you can forgive, not for them, but for yourself. The turning point, when you stop chasing and start attracting, there's a moment that happens when a man becomes truly ready. It's subtle, but it's undeniable. He stops chasing. He stops performing. He stops trying to convince women of his worth, not because he's given up, but because he no longer needs external validation to know his value. This is the paradox of readiness. The moment you stop needing a relationship is the moment you become ready for one. You've probably seen it before. A guy spends years chasing, trying too hard, overthinking every interaction. Then one day, he shifts. He focuses on himself. He builds his life. He stops obsessing over outcomes. And suddenly, women notice, not because he's doing anything different externally, but because his energy has changed. He's no longer coming from a place of lack. He's coming from a place of abundance. Psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains this beautifully. When your foundational needs, self-respect, purpose, emotional stability, are met, you move towards self-actualization. And from that place, relationships aren't about filling voids. They're about sharing fullness. This is what women sense when they meet a man who's ready. He's not trying to impress her. He's not performing. He's simply himself, confident, grounded, present. He has standards. He has boundaries. He knows what he wants, and he's not afraid to walk away from what doesn't align. That's attractive, not because it's a tactic, but because it's real. When you're ready, you stop asking, "Will she choose me?" and start asking, "Is she right for me?" You stop tolerating disrespect because you're lonely. You stop ignoring red flags because you're afraid of being alone. You start valuing your peace more than the idea of being with someone. And that shift changes everything. The deeper truth, readiness is a choice. Here's what most men don't realize. Readiness isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you choose. You choose to do the inner work. You choose to face your shadows. You choose to build a life of purpose and integrity. You choose to stop running from discomfort and start sitting with it. The Stoics believed that the only thing you truly control is your response to life. You can't control when the right woman appears, but you can control whether you're ready when she does. And here's the truth that will change how you see relationships forever. A woman can't make you ready. She can inspire you. She can challenge you. She can hold space for your growth, but she can't do the work for you. If you're waiting for love to fix you, you'll be waiting forever. But if you commit to becoming the man you'd want to meet, emotionally intelligent, purpose-driven, healed, and whole, everything changes. You stop settling. You stop chasing. You stop repeating the same patterns. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to attract anyone, but because you've become someone worth knowing. Research from the Gottman Institute, which has studied thousands of couples over decades, found that the strongest predictor of relationship success isn't compatibility or chemistry. It's emotional maturity. It's the ability of both partners to take responsibility for their emotions, communicate openly, and grow together. You can't control who you meet, but you can control who you become, and who you become determines the quality of every relationship you'll ever have. The call to action. Your moment is now. So where are you right now? Are you chasing relationships to fill a void, or are you building a life so fulfilling that a relationship becomes the cherry on top, not the foundation? Are you doing the inner work? Are you facing your fears, your insecurities, your unresolved pain? Or are you hoping someone else will save you from yourself? Are you emotionally available? Can you sit with discomfort? Can you communicate openly? Can you love without losing yourself? These are the questions that determine whether you're ready. And here's the empowering part. You get to decide. You get to choose growth over stagnation. You get to choose healing over hiding. You get to choose to become the kind of man who doesn't just attract love, but sustains it. The Stoics taught that the obstacle is the way. The discomfort you're avoiding is the path forward. The work you're resisting is the work that will transform you. So stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop blaming your past, your circumstances, your bad luck. Start building. Start healing. Start becoming. Because the moment you're actually ready for a woman isn't when you find her, it's when you find yourself. And when you do, everything else falls into place. Knowing when you're actually ready for a woman isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about building yourself first. True readiness comes when your purpose, identity, and peace don't depend on someone else. When your life is full on your own terms, any relationship becomes a choice, not a necessity. A man who's ready doesn't chase approval, doesn't compromise his values, and doesn't let emotions control him. He steps into partnership from strength, not from emptiness. Remember, relationships amplify who you already are. They don't create it. Keep building your life, mastering your emotions, and sharpening your identity so that when the right connection comes, you meet it as your best self. If this video helped you see what it truly means to be ready, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment. Are you building yourself, or are you waiting for someone to make you whole? Keep forging, and never settle for less than the life you've built. Now go do the work. Your future self, and the woman who deserves him, is waiting.